I have no idea how to top that. And I also know that I stand between you and wine, but I do have one thing. Christy, what do you mean you don't know how much longer you can do this? I was there in the back of the room, Christy. What do you mean? No, seriously. You good? Okay, we'll talk later. It'll be great. Well, what a day. Thank you. I think the team did an amazing, amazing job, the Ellevate Network team. I gotta tell you, some days it's sort of easy to get depressed these days, isn't it? You know, I was in my office the other day, thinking back to, 9 months ago when, man, we were making some kind of progress, weren't we? Remember, we're leaning in, we're knowing our worth, we're advancing in corporate America, we're closing the gender pay gap, we are more board positions, female president. Here we go. And you sort of sit here today, and what's clear is that the gender pay gap is not closing, that it's going to be more than 100 years before it closes, and for women of color, women with disabilities, even longer. That our progress in corporate America has stalled, that our progress of getting onto boards, if I'd been here a week ago, I would have told you that's tens of years away. But I read recent research yesterday that says that we've actually gone backwards. And so it's sort of easy to get depressed. And so into this, I have been asked to close the day with what is the future of work? What is the future of our careers? The answer, ladies, it is what we want it to be. Because we can shape this and we can make this. Make no mistake that when we women are in leadership positions, when we are part of diverse teams, when we bring our cognitive diversity, when we bring the strengths that we have to business, companies don't just perform better or a little bit better, they perform a lot better. Higher returns on equity, higher returns on sales, greater client focus, greater employee engagement, lower risk, more long-term focus, greater innovation. The returns for startups, I mentioned this morning, with women in the leadership teams aren't just better than male only, they're 63% better, according to First Round Capital. The power of gender diversity is so great that diverse teams outperform higher IQ and smarter teams. And I'll tell this group, piece of research I saw, if there's one thing you can do to improve a leadership team, you know how they say, gosh, if there's one thing you can do for your health, I always thought it was run. It's actually floss your teeth. Apparently it's very bad to have bacteria hanging out in your teeth. If there's one thing you can do to improve a leadership team, the research says it's to put a woman on the team. All this great research, and yet we haven't made as much progress. But I will tell you, the world is coming our way. Because as I sat back, and when I was writing the book, Own It, and sat back and looked at what we women bring to the party, it's coming our way. I always hate to say women are this and men are that, because of course we're all individuals, we're all different, but there are some averages. There is something that happens, that those good results that we get by females on teams, that is the result of difference. By the way, it's not the result of bringing us in and telling us to act like middle-aged white guys. As much as we love middle-aged white guys, as you know, been married to a couple of them, amazing creatures. I am now married to the whitest man on the planet, by the way. Right, Kitty? You want to come up here? Yes or no? Come on up, Kitty. If we're bringing the kids up, I'm bringing the kids up. This is my daughter, Kitty Appel. 20 years old and killing it at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Killing it. And actually, heartwarming, a few months ago, she turned to me and said, "Mommy, I want to close my gender investing gap." And I'm like, "You rock." It was such a proud moment for me. All right, so anyway, what do we women bring, right? It's not bringing us in and telling us to be more assertive and take on more risk, right? It's not telling us to raise the hand for the promotion before you're ready. It's not telling us to be different. The companies that get it let us be ourselves and meet us where we are. They wouldn't tell an introvert to be an extrovert if they're great companies. And so they don't tell us to act differently. And the things we tend to bring to work are amazing qualities. We tend to bring risk awareness. Not risk aversion, risk awareness. We like to understand risk. We tend to bring a love of learning. Really important as the environment changes. We tend to bring complex, holistic thinking. That men, we love them, tend to make more efficient decisions, faster. We tend to take in more information and make more effective decisions. We women, we're all about meaning and purpose. The number one reason we accept a job is how much of a difference can we make in this world. Money's important. We don't want to be paid any less, but that's number 4 for us. Meaning and purpose is number 1. So we bring an array of skills, that sort of holistic view, that looking around corners, that drive to make the world better, that risk awareness, that tends to make companies better. And as we think about where the world is going, technology changing business so quickly, these qualities and skills become even in more demand. And if companies don't get it, well, back in my day, it is still my day, but when I was a little bit older than this, companies didn't get it. I didn't have a choice. What could I do? I could go in and ask for a raise, right? No information. Hope I asked for the right number. I have no idea. Today, we can go to PayScale, one of the sponsors, right? We can go to other competitors of PayScale who won't be mentioned since they're not sponsors and figure out how much we're supposed to make. And we can go in with knowledge. Back in the day, if I didn't think they were treating me well, I could go work at another company with very little information. Hey, how's your company? Great. I guess I'll go work there. That sounds fine. Today, we can, in her sights, is a startup, Chapel Hill girls, ladies, women, who have crowdsourced company cultures from tens of thousands of women. We can go to Fairy Godboss, a friend of Ellevate Network, and figure out the parental leave policies of companies. So we can go with much more information, or we can start our own businesses. I now am an entrepreneur. I have a few different businesses. Ellevate Network I'm the chair of, Ellevate, the digital investment platform. Couldn't have started these businesses 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. The cost of technology is coming down so much. The cloud is bringing the cost down so much. But it's not just technology. It's the WeWorks, so you don't have to have the long-term leases. We don't have to travel because we can do video conference. We don't have to have full-time employees sometimes because we can have consultants and part-time folks. And those two are career paths for us. So all of a sudden, we have more knowledge and more options at work. And remember what I mentioned this morning? We're more than half the workforce. That's power. We control 80% of consumer spending. And now with companies like Gender Fair, we can direct that. I had one of you here, what's it called, Equalite, a startup that shows us women-owned businesses to buy from. Really exciting that that is available. So we can take the 80% of consumer spending that we direct and direct it to companies whose values align with ours. Uber. Well, Susan Fowler, what a heroine. It was the power of dollars, the power of our voices, the power of our money that, catalyzed by her, affected the change there. The world is changing. The world is changing. We control $5 trillion of investable assets. We control with our spouses and partners another 6. We will inherit, because we live longer than the guys, 70% of the $40 trillion of wealth transfer that's going to occur over the next few decades. We'll have more money to spend and more money to invest. And we can invest behind companies whose values align with ours, be it the one that I'm involved in, the PAC's Ellevate Global Women's Index Fund, or the She Index, or any of those that are today putting our dollars to work. So you know, Christy's heard me say it before, I don't need to be empowered. We don't need to be empowered. We don't need to be given power. That is what empowered means. We do not need to be given power. We need to, each of us, one by one, determine that we will use the power we have, the power of working at companies, the power of our courageous conversations, of bringing these topics up at work, the power of our money, in order to make the world going forward the one that I want her to work in, which wasn't always the one that I worked in. And we're making such a great start by coming together here, by being part of this. Really, thank you all for being part of it. And again, big thanks to Christy and the Ellevate Network team. Let's go drink wine.
Thanks, Sallie. And Christy will do some closing remarks.
Okay. So I'm going to be quick here because I know the booze is coming up. Want to really recognize actually what you're going to be drinking out here, which is Catskill Provisions, Pomp and Whimsy, Al's Brew. I know definitely Catskill Provisions and Pomp and Whimsy are woman-owned businesses, so we're looking to support them as much as we can. They're phenomenal. Check it out. We will be following up with you with the action statements from today, so keep an eye out for that and your last chance to add your voice to that conversation, so please put it onto the action wall. Thank you to everyone who joined us online. We loved you. We felt your presence. This will be available for viewing after the event, so do not worry if you missed something. You'll be able to check it out later. Also, we will be sending out the virtual gift bag that has some pretty spectacular offers in there. So you'll be getting